All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Backyard Slinging Podcast. This week I have my old first sergeant from the 374th MP Company, Mason Huen. Did I say that right?
Absolutely. No, it's Huen.
Huen. Okay.
Good enough.
I go back and forth like every time. So, all right.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure y'all probably didn't realize, but I kind of forgot to ask the questions that I've asked Corey and Cody in the first two episodes. So we're just going to start that off here first, get them out of the way for y'all, and then we can get into Mason's side of things here. All right. So the first question, what's your favorite movie?
There's so many good ones. Tombstone, Heartbreak Ridge, obviously Super Troopers. That's always fun. No, there are a lot of good movies.
Oh yeah.
I'd have to go with a classic like Tombstone. It just has so many, great sayings that people have run with over the years.
Oh yeah. I need to watch that again here. All right. So let's see if you've heard of my favorite movie, because everyone else hasn't, but they're also around my age or younger.
Mm-hmm.
So my favorite movie is Hatari with John Wayne.
Ooh. No, I can't say that I know that one.
It's the one where he's in Africa and he's catching animals for the zoo.
Okay.
There's just something about it. I just love watching them catch all the animals, because it's how they used to catch them back in the day.
Right.
So like they had like this big long stick with a loop on it, and they'd put it over them, or be in the front sitting on a chair that they welded on the hood of the truck. And be out there like lassoing animals and stuff.
In Africa.
Yeah.
That sounds wild.
Oh yeah. That's just my favorite movie. So I think when I was deployed, I watched it at least once a week.
Okay.
Because I was able to get like this little package of DVDs that could only fit like 15 movies in it. So that was one of them. That and Battleship. But all right, so move on to the next one here. Coffee or tea?
Tea. I'm not a coffee guy. The military ruined me for that.
Oh yeah.
At a very young age. Yeah.
I like that answer, because I like tea, and it might surprise a lot of people that I say tea, but yet I own a coffee company with my wife.
Okay.
So everyone's like, "You don't drink it?" I'm like, no, not really. She wanted to do it, so I'm like, okay, we'll do it.
Wow.
So it's I guess we'll throw this up here. The Bag Air 6-Up coffee. That's our breakfast blend there. But I don't know if you know this, but the 6-Up, that used to be a thing, I guess, back in the day, like the hippies and stuff. Well, that'd be like their code for the police. Yeah. They had like the six dome lights on top.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how she heard of that, but that's what we named it.
That's pretty cool.
All right, we'll move on here. So this is the biggest question. This is one that most people like.
Boy.
All right, so you're in a room. There's only one way out of the room, right? And only one of you leaves the room. What's the biggest animal that you can take in a fist fight with no weapons?
Ooh. I don't know. I've always used the comment, I'm a lover, not a fighter. But people who know me know that, man, I don't know, the biggest animal. Definitely not going to say a kangaroo after seeing some videos on that.
Yeah.
They're beasts. When you want to get into a ring with them.
Yeah, no.
I don't know, maybe a small bear.
Yeah. That was one of my
life out of it.
Yeah. I think that's definitely doable. Better than my friend's first answer. His first answer was a mountain lion.
Oh, nah.
So I have a good short of that little snippet coming out later this month. And I've seen that you're a Penn State fan.
I am. Yep.
All right. So depending on who sees it and when they see it, this video is set to come out an hour before the blue and white game.
Okay.
On the 26th.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like twisted like the info and like the title to make it look like he's talking shit about Penn State. So we're gonna see if he gets any people commenting towards him about that.
Hmm.
I think it's gonna be hilarious. I just sent him like a picture of like the date and time. I'm like, this is when you're gonna make a lot of new friends and a lot of enemies.
Oh yeah,
And he's like,
yeah,
what? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you'll see. Just wait. It'll
yeah.
be all
Just
right.
stand by on that one.
But yeah, um, that hopefully that one turns out pretty good. So, all right, now we can get into so like I introduced before. This was my last first sergeant that I had when I was with the 374th, and I would say you're probably the favorite one, honestly, and not just saying that because we're talking,
Right.
recording. Um, I mean, you know who our first one was because he ended up being our sergeant major,
Yes.
uh, Sergeant Major Schneider.
Who's now the brigade sergeant major?
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yep. Yep.
He's spreading his encouragement stories about Charlie in the bush. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I still remember he sat us down there at we had AT up at the Gap, and he pulled everyone in because it was our company and our sister company, and brought everyone in and just gave us this huge spiel about if we go to war with Korea, like you guys are gonna be behind the lines, but their special forces are gonna be behind the lines trying to disrupt stuff. So that's who you're gonna be fighting, and they're gonna be hiding in the bushes. And of course, the younger kids they're getting all excited for that, but most of us are like, okay,
Well, again, there's different ways to motivate different soldiers. You just got to find which way works for you. And
right,
I have the utmost respect for Sergeant Major Snyder. I think he's
yeah,
a great dude. He's a soldier sergeant major, for
yes,
sure.
I would agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
Um, Probably top three best leaders I've had the privilege of working with in the military.
That's I'd
Mm-hmm.
say that's pretty good averages there.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you've had quite a few. I mean, because you retired, so you've done at
I
least
did.
20.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, so you've had quite a few leaders to pick from in that regard.
Well, I don't know if you remember my opening speech, and that was, you know, look at your leaders that you've had, over the years, and take the good, take the bad,
Right,
and kind of shape and mold yourself. And the one thing I always stressed, and I think it was because I remember being that guy, and that was never forget where you came from and who you are.
right.
Yeah, so I always try to treat people with respect, and I was pretty straightforward about things,
Yes,
and
yeah.
I remember the day that you left, that you ETS'd, and I remember shaking your hand, trying to talk you back, talk to every single one of you to
Well,
stay.
of course, yeah.
But at the same time, my deal was, if you do choose to go, I'll shake your hand. Thank you for your service. I mean, you did something that what 60% of Americans right now can't do because they're too overweight
Right.
alone.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Not including the other 40% that are eligible that just choose not to.
Right.
It's admirable.
And then that brings me another thing. With the 40, you said the 40% that are capable,
Mm-hmm.
and that's probably okay. So you have the ability to do it, and then obviously the military won't take if you're not, pretty decently fit, or
Mm-hmm.
like where they see, like, okay, you might be a little heavier, but we know that we can drop X amount through basic or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least they have some kind of thing figured out.
Well,
Law enforcement, on the other hand, they're taking a lot more individuals, especially now.
well, yeah.
So, yeah, and that's something that I'm kind of dealing with now with my agency, because I've been injured since October,
Mm.
breaking up a fight in the housing unit, and so I twisted my knee the wrong way on a takedown, and then I've just been out since then on light duty. But my physical therapist asked me, they're like, is there like a physical standard that you have to meet to go back? I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure there is. I'll get it for you. Well, I get it and look at it, and it is the most vague, like, umbrella policy on that.
Hmm.
And like, we have no yearly physical test like you do when you're in the academy.
We do. As an agency, we have two.
Yeah. So that's Wolf. His agency also has one,
Hmm.
which having something is better than nothing.
Yeah.
But we have nothing, and even if we did, I feel like they would kind of try to just push people around it because they want the bodies on the floor, even though it could be a detriment to your coworkers, which is my big thing. Because yes, I could go back tomorrow and be able to perform like the basics, but say if an emergency happened, I'm no good to anyone if I go running and my knee gives out, and then, well, I'm not, now I can't help.
Yeah. I mean, think about if you got to pull somebody out of a burning building. Are you going to be able to do it?
Right.
Um,
I
I mean,
mean,
I'm sure you would. I
oh
have no
yeah.
doubt in
I mean,
that
I
that
have,
you would tear everything in your knee to do it. But
yes.
again, I mean, is it?
I like to think that I have a bit more grit than most my age and younger.
Mhm.
Um, but it's just before I got hurt, being in certain situations and seeing how the completely able-bodied other people reacted, and it's like, well, that's it's not exactly how you want to react in that situation. Things could have definitely went a lot worse, but
Yeah.
luckily, I have a pretty decent rapport with our population,
Hmm.
so I kind of know a little bit more leeway in my head anyway of what I can and can't get away with, like in responding to incidences inside the facility. I don't know. Our place kind of pushes a lot of like the talking and trying to talk them down, and then they get so far into the talking that that's all they do. They just constantly trying to
Hmm.
talk and talk and talk. And it's like at some point you have to make them do it because the outcome's already decided,
Hmm.
especially inside a facility. It's either one or the other. They did something, they're going to the hole. It doesn't matter how long you talk to them, they're still going to
Hmm.
go. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I've been through a couple really good trainings. I went through one with the LA County Sheriff's Department where
Okay.
they talked about the window, what they call the window of opportunity, and they talk about how when you're trying to de-escalate a situation, that there's only that small little window of opportunity for you to act. Once that
Right.
window slams shut, it's over. You're probably gonna go hands on, um, or that window is also an opportunity for you to go hands on. And
Right.
once that window shuts, you're not going to be able to anymore. So, I mean, it's a delicate situation. It's one that I think a lot of people learn over the years with experience. Because my first couple of years in law enforcement, it was always a fist fight on the side of the road,
Right.
And
Yeah.
after so many broken knuckles and getting teeth replaced, and I've learned how to
Good times.
talk to people. Yeah, yeah. I learned how to talk to people very quickly. That
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, you just need to know how to read people and like you said, understand that hey, look, in the end, this is gonna happen. Like you can
Right.
either go the easy way or go the hard way. Obviously, don't say that because that always
Yeah. Yeah.
sparks people
Yeah.
up. But in your mind,
Right.
you know that that's what's going to happen. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of brings me back when I was originally looking to leave because I started out up at Franklin County Jail
Hmm.
in Pennsylvania.
Yep.
And when I was looking to leave, I wanted to go to the road somewhere. And a lot of the places down south, um, I would see that they required you to work in a jail for 2 years
Hmm.
before. And at the time, I thought that was like that's dumb. Like I don't want to work in a jail anymore. I've done it for 2 years. I don't want to go down there and do two more.
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe not go to the road,
Right.
because of staffing or something like that. But now looking back on that and look at it now, I think it's a kind of a good. I think it's a positive because it forces you to learn how to talk to people. Because you
Yeah.
either have a better or a harder time in the housing units because you don't have weapons. You can't
Mm-hmm.
fall back on anything. Like it's if you have to go hands on, like it is a fist fight, and there is no
Right.
alternative. And
I,
if anything, they're going to have a weapon.
yeah.
So
I'll be honest with you. I don't think I could work in a prison. It. I mean, it's bad enough with just holding cells.
right,
Whenever I was in Korea, we had a big drunk tank,
right,
and it was nothing to be in a full fledged fist fight in the back of that thing.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I couldn't do what you guys do. I really couldn't.
yeah. I mean, I think you could do it where I'm at now. It's a
Mm-hmm.
completely different like demographic and like population as from when I was up in PA. Because up there we had cell extractions every week. We were spraying someone every week. And now here, I've personally seen OC deployed 2 times in 8 years. It's just the population that we have coming in is so different.
Well, and have your policies changed a little bit?
They've kind of been the same
Have
here.
they?
If anything,
Okay.
they've gotten a little bit more restrictive. But at
Yeah.
what was it, 4 years ago? Um, they did attempt to get back to the ask, tell, make,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we were training. But the people that were there for so long and had gotten into that groove, and
Mm-hmm.
the new people were just following that too, and then the new people on top of that, I don't think they're as comfortable with violence and taking action in that way. Like they don't want to go hands on,
Right.
and then when they do, they don't commit,
Mm.
which is something that I tried doing when I was on the DT's team as an instructor, and it's like you have to commit.
Mm-hmm.
And the same way with military and law enforcement, like room clearing, house clearing,
Yep.
you can't go slow about it and getting caught in that doorway.
It's violence
You
of
have,
action.
yeah, exactly, and that's exactly the same term that I used
Mm-hmm.
when I was talking with Wolf about that stuff.
Yep.
And and I also use that. We started a program where we're teaching civilian women. It's like a self defense kind of class,
Yeah, that's great.
and that's how I would explain it to them. Because I mean, you would have some people that come in and like they're giving it to the bag pretty good,
It's
and
good.
even to the red man.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there's some it's like they just have like that mental block that a lot of people have, like, oh, I don't want to hurt somebody. Like, well, that's the point of this.
Yep.
You want to hurt them. You want to inflict pain so that you can get away.
I mean, it's
So
nature, right? That's why a lot of your animals have like a defense mechanism that makes makes the bigger animal run away.
right.
Because and they're not necessarily bigger; they're just a little more violent for a split second. It makes them
Yep.
think twice. Makes the predator think twice.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah,
It's like the honey badger
yeah, yeah.
out in Africa. It's taking on 4 lions at one time. It's like, okay, I can get behind this guy.
I was gonna say I've been through a lot of DT with even small females, and I got to tell you, they're
Yeah.
scrappy.
Oh
And
yeah. Yep.
I mean, some of my best fights roadside, unfortunately, have been females. You know,
Yeah.
um,
Excuse me. All right. So we definitely went off a little tangent there.
oh yeah,
But hey, that's what we do here. We just kind of
cool.
go off the tracks a little bit. Actually, I wanted to get back into for like the military side.
Hmm.
Um, maybe what kind of how like your thoughts and views were of the military when you first got in, or like what made you join,
Okay.
and then kind of how they may have changed to the point of being a first sergeant.
Sure. So I joined in 1997. I actually went down to Fort McClellan, Alabama. Yeah, so it was definitely a different Army then. I had just left college. I partied way too much, had way too good of a time. And I had to sit down with my parents, and they were like, hey, look, like, you got to figure out what you're going to do with your life. So my whole family, they were all Marines. So I walked in a recruiting station. None of the Marines were there. And just so happened an Army recruiter was walking out of his office, and he sees me. And hey, let's have a chat. I'm like, okay. It was between them and a Navy guy walks out in the dungarees, and I'm like, sorry, dude, can't wear that. I'm not Popeye. Yeah. So I had a conversation with the Army recruiter, and before you know it, I was headed to Fort McClellan, did my basic and AIT, came home. I actually joined the reserves, and came home, and Miss Cassidy, who you know, she was my UA then.
Oh, wow.
And okay. I told her, I said, hey, look, I really like this active duty stuff. I want to do that. She's like, okay. So she put through the paperwork, and about 5 months later, I signed the paperwork and went on active duty. Went to, ended up in Fort Stewart, Georgia, 3rd ID, 549th MP Company, 3rd MP Battalion. And it was a whole different world. It was nothing for like an NCO to straight drop kick somebody in the chest. And right. You just took it, Your first weekend in the barracks, I'll never forget, they would have the senior specialist in your room because barracks were nasty. 3 people in a room. And they would have the senior specialist. They'd give them money for a case of beer. And you go out and you drink all night. And they would tell them to leave the door unlocked. And at about 3 o'clock in the morning, as you're passed out, they would kick open the door and they'd be like, get your stuff on. You pile on, you'd have your Kevlar on backwards. You look like a knucklehead. You were, half your stuff was torn apart, still in duffel bags. And they'd run you down a sand tank trail. It seemed like an eternity. And then they'd bring you back to, there's a volleyball court outside the back of the barracks, and they'd have you low crawl and do all the silliness. They'd spray hoses on you. And it was, but, in hindsight, it seemed like hazing, but it actually built camaraderie, because whenever they stood you guys all up and you didn't quit, they shook your hand and they said, welcome to Fort Stewart, welcome to 3rd ID.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So it was a good experience. I enjoyed it. I met one of my best military friends. He's the last one left in the military right now. He's a lieutenant colonel. And
okay.
we came up through the ranks on the enlisted side until he made staff sergeant, and then he went the officer route. So, but he's about to retire, I think, this year or next. He's got his last duty assignment as Germany.
Okay.
And he transitioned over into MI from MP, but he was a dog handler, SRT,
okay,
all 9 yards. Yeah, but I guess transitioning up through, I've had different positions: squad leader, platoon sergeant. I became an instructor, NCOES instructor for ALC, SLC for those old timers, BNOC, ANOC. Yeah. They were great. That was probably the best position I've ever had, because it really allowed me to understand doctrine, really understand why orders came down the way that they did. So I'm sure there's times where you're at drill and you're like, why are we doing this? What are we doing? Yeah. And until I had those courses and kind of understood the inner workings, and don't get me wrong, some of it was just BS. Some of it was somewhere way high up above, and I'm not trying to knock our officers, but somebody wanted a gold star on their OER. And so the good idea fairy came out, and before you know it, you're doing something stupid that makes absolutely no sense. And it happens. But transitioning to first sergeant, it was extremely beneficial, because it was you know, it was a time where I felt like I could influence younger kids. I mean, you heard my speech day one. Like it
Right.
was
Yep.
pedal to the floor. You're going to work as hard as possible until I tell you to stop. And once we stop, like I'm going to give you back your time. And that's why a lot of times guys on Sundays, they enjoyed their football, their beer, stuff like that. I would get them
Yep.
out of
Yep.
there early as long as you worked hard, you know. And again, you got to find different things that motivate each individual. And
Right. Yeah.
I got to tell you, like I met a lot of really good people, and whether they stayed in, got out, didn't matter. You know, hey, we're still friends. You know, I still
Right.
consider
Yeah.
them friends. Actually, there's a soldier that he probably came in right after you left, and he now works with me. He called me
Okay.
up one day and he's like, "Hey, look, I really want to do this." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Here's the deal, though, man." I said, "If I stamp my name to your packet, like I don't do that very often, and when I do,
Right.
like they take it very serious because they're like, this is a guy that we know. And if he's stamping his name, and he made it through, and right now he's working over in PG County, which is a rough
Okay.
county.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But again, you know, you build friendships, you make hard decisions,
Yeah.
and
I'm.
you know,
Yeah.
I had a great commander. Can't complain. Um, he was knowledgeable. He was intelligent. He was common sense driven, and he was you know, for his age, he was extremely wise because he was like, this guy has a lot of time on. I'm gonna listen to some of his advice,
Right.
and so we just worked really well as a team. And
Yeah.
hopefully that reflected down to you guys. And
I would say so for sure.
yeah,
That was definitely something that I could tell, and my kind of like group of guys that I ran with there, we could definitely tell that. Compare, because we always compare you to the previous,
mm-hmm.
and how the dynamics were between that commander and first sergeant and so
Yeah,
on.
I heard stories. I heard
Yeah, I
stories.
think the one preceding you he may have been the roughest out of all the ones that we had at the time.
Again, there's different styles. I try not to knock anyone. There's styles that
Right.
work, there's styles that don't. And there's
Yeah.
different crowds, and you're gonna impact and reach the ones that you can. I just
Right.
tried. I mean, my biggest thing was being straight and upfront with you. Like day
Yep.
one, I told, I think it was the entire formation. I just told them, I said, "Hey, look, I want you to be here, but if you don't want to be here, find a new home. I'll shake your hand on the way out the door.
Yep.
Good luck to you." And then there were ones that I told because I had heard rumors from people that I talked to that there were some NCOs that weren't being NCOs. And I just said, day one, you're either going to find a new home or you're going to work as hard as you possibly can, or I'm going to kick you out of the Army.
Right.
And I think it was it our, do you remember going up to Fort Dix? It was shortly after I got there. It was probably a second drill. We went up to Fort Dix for like a round robin medical and driver training. And
Yep. I remember that.
so the new commander and I were running around. We're driving all over the place, just checking up on people. Hey, how you doing? What's up? You know, hey, like this is who I am. I want to sit down. I want to talk to you. Walk into weapons cleaning. We didn't have any supplies, and I brought my own. Like I'd already been warned.
Yep. Yeah.
And I brought in my own cleaning supplies, and I heard somebody complain about something. And I sat down with them. I started cleaning my weapon right beside them, and they just kept right on going. I didn't recognize me, and so I let him air it out. And I'm like, you know what? That's a good idea. You know, and she looked at me and she's like, oops. And I'm like, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
But anyway, that weekend I ended up, soldier got sick. And so we told him, we said, hey, go up to your room, hang out in your room, like get some sleep. We picked up some meds for him. And I forget what happened. We were going to go up and check on him. And I told the NCO, I said, hey, look, I got him. I'm going to go up and check on him, make sure he's doing all right. Knocked on the door. There were 4 NCOs and they're sleeping. And I lost my mind. And needless to say, out of those 4, 2 left the Army completely, not by their own choice. and the other two, one found a home somewhere else, and the other one shifted into overdrive, and really turned out well. So I don't know. It was, and I get it. Like I try not to come in there breathing fire day one, but it was like, hey, look, here are my expectations. This is how I operate. Like you either get on board or you jump off the ship. I don't care which.
Yeah. I think that's kind of something that's I've always kind of had that kind of mindset with things, with the military and law enforcement. It's like, because you signed up to do that job, you chose it. It's it's not the Army does I think a good job of that. Like if you test well enough, you get to choose what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you chose to be there. So why are we half-assing shit, stuff like that, or not taking things seriously and literally or figuratively sleeping?
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same way with the law enforcement. It's like, because a lot of the people on my squad now at work, like they've come to learn as soon as, like, if they were new additions,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, if you're doing something stupid, well, I'm going to call you out on it, and you're going to do it the right way if you're working with me, because I'm not going to go do it for you. So there's some little things here. It's like, hey, I need you to sign off on it. I'm like, no, I'm not going to sign off on that. I'm like, but it needs 2 signatures. I'm like, well, I wasn't there. So no, I'm not going to. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, go, leave, get out of my control room, figure it out. So, I mean, I
Huh?
guess
It's
everybody's
integrity,
built for
right?
that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
The military, like I don't know. I guess I probably so I got promoted to sergeant whenever I was still 20 years old, and on active duty that was pretty unheard of. And we had started getting soldiers in from basic training in AIT that, I mean, the one kid walked in and his uniform looked like he just pulled it out of a duffel bag. I mean, it looked like straight trash, and these were the days with the old Woodland BDUs where if you were in garrison, your uniform better stand by itself in the corner with
all right,
starch,
okay,
you know. And this kid was a ragbag, and I lost my ever loving mind. And 20 years old screaming at somebody is just insane. But it was like
yeah,
that was the way that it was. If I tried to do that now, or even 4 years ago,
yeah.
it it probably wouldn't have gone over as well.
I think on different levels, honestly,
Yeah,
with the way it's viewed from the top, and also how that soldier is going to receive it,
right.
because their mindset's completely different.
Mm-hmm.
They're like,
Yeah,
oh, well, who's this guy
yeah.
yelling at me? Like, I'm here doing my thing, so you can go
Mm-hmm.
kick rocks. They're like, well, it's not how it works,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Well, I got to tell you, towards the end, and you guys weren't always privy to these, but we'd be on conference calls, or I'd be on conference calls with other senior NCOs, and we'd be talking about the new 670-1, the wear and appearance of the uniform.
right,
And let's just say that there was a certain conference call in which I was muted. I was then called on the cell phone and told that I had to be more politically correct, and I said, well, this is the military, right? And
exactly,
yeah, I lost my mind, but it's probably the reason. So I don't know if you heard after you had left, I actually got selected for CSM.
I did
Um,
not.
I was chosen by a lieutenant colonel, whole 9 yards, but it was in a different division. So I was actually leaving the MPs. I was going to a drill sergeant unit,
Okay,
and that was by my choice more so because I felt like um, I was just the brigade was great. The brigade CSM was a good guy. Brigade commander was pretty intelligent. There was incoming brigade commander at the time, but I was ready for a little bit of a change,
right,
and so I was told to send my command photos. I had to go up, get a command photo in uniform with the CSM rank, and I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Send it off. Goes to a division CSM who calls me and says, hey, it's great to have you, this, that, and the other, and I don't know where things fell apart, but let's just say that he made a comment to me that I thought was really, because of my last name, a lot of people think I'm Korean,
Right.
which I'm not. I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, not that that's a bad thing.
Right. Yeah.
I've been in Korea. I have a lot of Korean, really good friends from Korea who are Korean. I love the culture. I love, obviously, being a fat kid. I love the food. Um, you know, but he just made a comment to me that was so off-putting that I'm like, you're kidding me right now. And I never repeated it until I actually left the service because I kind of
Right.
took it as, whatever. It was like that atmosphere at the time with the politics that were going on and that were
Right.
being pushed into the military. But I just kind of fluffed it off and ignored it. And so what ended up happening was somehow, some way, my paperwork coming from the 200th over to this new division, it was 4 days late. And whenever I say 4 days late, 4 days past a deadline that two division sergeant majors didn't. And this basically said that I had to attend the sergeant majors academy prior to it, which would be basically like another 2 years. And then
Right.
possibly I could get pinned after that. And so I lost that position. And that was whenever I was like, you know what? I'm done. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore. Like, I love the people that we served with. I love
Yep.
the camaraderie. I love the Army. I love the United States. It's just the politics at the time were not in line with my core values.
Right.
You guys, I'm sure, would never have guessed my political outlook. You would never have guessed my religion, because as a leader, you're not to do that. It's.
Exactly.
I looked at you just like I looked at the guy standing next to you, and I said, "Those are my brothers in green. I could care less what their sexual preferences, what their
Yep.
race is, what their religious beliefs are, what their I don't care. You're in green. You're a soldier. You're just like me. I've
Yep.
got a little bit more ass to chew because I've been in longer and I've been promoted, which is where, most guys I looked at and I said, that's where you need to be. You need to be coming up through the ranks and taking over the reins so that way I can ride off into the sunset."
Yeah. Well, as you say that about the drill sergeant thing, I'm sure you know how retention works.
Yes.
As soon as they hear that, oh, someone's getting out, okay, well, we're going to offer them this, 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 and
Mm-hmm.
this.
Right.
So they did offer me that drill sergeant unit, and they offered that sapper unit that Specialist Orner went to, who
Yep.
recently got promoted to E5 sergeant. He just
Nice.
showed me it pinned on him yesterday.
That's great.
And I actually asked him and the guys that I still talk to are like if there's any questions they wanted to ask you. And he's
Mm-hmm.
the only one that responded. He's like, "Are you proud of me, Dad?" With a picture of the sergeant on his chest.
Aw, I'm proud of everybody. I wish you would have sent that to me.
I have
I'm
to make sure I
serious.
let him know.
Well, yeah. If he sends me a text or if you shoot me his contact info,
Okay.
I'll
Yeah, I can do
uh,
that.
I'll take a picture of how proud I am tonight. Whenever I
Okay.
take a picture of a certain beverage that that I used to always buy all newly promoted NCOs,
Okay.
because it was just tradition. I'm
Right.
big into
Yeah.
tradition. Um, Listen, man, I was like I said, I was at Fort Stewart, Georgia, and I still have scars on my collarbone from my
Yeah. For your pinning.
blood wings. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they pounded those chevrons into my chest so hard that, like, I remember my squad leader had to come over and like pry him out of my collarbone.
Jeez.
It was good though. I loved
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
know, it was a proud moment. So,
Yeah.
congratulations to him. I mean, shoot, that's
Oh yeah.
that's a big step.
Yeah. I would say if probably like if I still lived in PA, I 100% probably would have went with him there.
Mm-hmm.
But being down in Northern Virginia, it was already an hour for me to drive to Chambersburg,
Mm-hmm.
and then to uh, Harrisburg to the Gap would have been another 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And at the time, like the first 6, no, not even that. The first 5 drills, we get what 10 or 15 days of military leave for my work. So, but after that, you're already out of that by the time summer comes, AIT, and then the rest of the year. So I would lose money going to drill,
Oh yeah, I did too. I
and
did too.
it's like just the way things were going, like you said, with how the views and stuff of the military were at the time,
Hmm.
and I had a bit of a sour taste in my mouth from the deployment actually,
Yeah.
and then coming home and there's still you know a higher up NCO with our unit. So
Hmm.
I'm like, I'm gonna go, but I did tack on 6 years of IR time, so
Okay.
I still have that opportunity to come back if I want.
Yeah.
If really more, if I can talk my wife into it, that's the
Hey,
biggest
listen,
one.
listen. How household 6 runs the show. Let's be honest. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah. So
Uh,
that's the biggest one. I'm like, I can even go to Fort Detrick and Frederick and be
yeah.
an Army historian. Like it's not combat. Like,
Well.
but I mean, on hindsight, I know that I would still have my 31 Bravo as a secondary.
Hmm.
So if something kind of decent's going on, they're likely going to see that and like, okay, this guy already has this training,
Hmm.
and he does this in the civilian world. We might transfer him for
Hmm.
something different. That's the only thing that she's kind of worried about. But
Yeah, and that makes total sense.
right,
You got to look. You got to look at what's best for you and your family.
yeah,
I've always said that to everybody. I had an NCO come to me with 12 years and say, "Hey, I'm ready to get out." And I'm like,
right,
"Are you sure?" I'm like, come on,
yeah.
man. 8 more
I
years, and like you
yeah,
got a guaranteed check for the rest of your.
yeah, and I didn't really want to, but it was just how it was. Like at that time, it just wasn't enjoyable
Hmm.
to be there after all the crap that happened overseas. And what happened here? Did we lose you? Oh, there you are.
Yep, we're back. Yeah,
There he is.
yeah.
So it was just like, I gotta go take a break. Um,
Which, hey, that might be a good thing. Um,
yeah,
with some of the things I'm hearing now coming through the military, it might be a really good thing for you.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
it
so.
sounds like we're back to actual soldiering.
Yes,
Um,
that was
we're
pretty
we're gonna
exciting to see that
start
stuff.
being combat effective, which would be good. Um,
Yes,
training leading the way, which I love. I mean, you probably heard me say at least a dozen times. Train as you fight.
right,
I don't know, man. It's what's best for you and your family, though, and that's something that only you and your wife
right.
know, and your dogs.
Yeah, but yeah, the dogs. I did have my one dog at the during the first deployment, but she was a good girl for who she was left with at the
Mm.
time. But yeah, yeah. There's definitely a lot of days I definitely miss it.
Yeah,
Um, and what this is 2025. I
yeah.
have 1 year left of my IR time.
I'll be
So
honest with you. I've kicked around the idea of coming back as well.
yeah,
Even though I killed my career at the end by just going, no, I'm done.
yeah,
Uh, there were some other things that occurred. There was a 200th meeting down in Kentucky in which I had a 2-star say something about a certain, I don't know, vaccination.
yeah,
And I was like, really? Yeah. My retirement paperwork's in your email. All you got to do is sign it.
yeah,
And, you know, so different time then.
yeah. Oh,
And
speaking of something like that, would you happen to have like any kind of maybe insight as to why the 200th did away with 31 Bravos coming in?
they downsized dramatically.
Okay.
Um, uh, I really can't give you a solid answer. So either right as you were about to leave or shortly after you left, there was a huge shift to shift all 31 Bravos to 31 Echoes.
Right. Yeah.
And then, there was talk that that's kind of the dumbest thing ever, because a Bravo can be an Echo any day of the week.
Exactly.
Why not? I don't want to talk for the powers that be up above. All I can say is that 31 Bravos have been so
versatile.
Yeah, like they're a combat multiplier.
Can do pretty much everything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at from door kicking to convoy security to reconnaissance to
PSD.
Yeah. Speaking of Fort Detrick, I spent some time in the Rock there at the underground facility. It's no longer top secret, so we're all good. You can look it up. It's there. Yeah. It's on the internet everywhere. But I spent some time there in 2001.
Okay. Yeah. I hear your dog there running around.
That was, I know. It sounded like a horse.
Yeah.
What are you doing, big dummy?
I don't know where my two are. I guess they're out in the other room, chilling. Wife took the puppy, and they went to the park.
Oh, nice.
And try to get her tired out. We're going out to a brewery later tonight.
Oh, very nice. Which one?
Harper's Ferry Brewery.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, right there. That has the big, nice overlook of the river, that valley there.
That's really nice. Yeah, I'm hoping this weather clears up here. I'm going over onto the Peninsula Island. We call it the island, but it's not really an island. Reconnecting. Oh, there we go. We're back. We're back.
Oh, there's Cassie. Come here, girl. One of the dogs comes in and visit. Where you at? Come here. Come say hi. Come here. Up. You bite up there. Take a look at the camera there.
Look at her.
Yeah, this is the dog that I've had for 9 years. She's my first dog, so first dog on my own. She's a good little thing. She's too smart for her own good, and she knows it. That's the problem. The other dog, my wife's dog, is another German Shepherd. She's smart as well, but she doesn't know it. She's a little bit of a ditz.
Yeah, I got a big meathead here.
The puppy should be. I think she'll be a good combination of the both of them. She learns quick, but she is also very stubborn as well.
Oh yeah, that's my boy. He's a big. Hey, come here. Come here. Come here, big dummy. Come on. Come up here. Come on. You're not allowed up here, I know.
He's like looking at it like.
Yeah, he's looking at me like, wait a minute. He's like, is this a trick?
Yeah. But I don't remember if I said it before on the podcast or not. I was actually looking to leave the Army earlier than when I did, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
When would that have been? That would have been 2016. So I still would have had 4 years left at the time. But I had gone because I wanted to go the active duty route.
Yeah.
And I was actually in the Air Force's office.
Okay.
Looking, because that's when they had just recently or just at the time kind of introduced like their PJs, their EOD and all that as special forces. So I went in looking for the TAC-P. Oh, we lost him again. Oh, he's back again. But I went in, looked at all the stuff they had, and TAC-P was what I was going to do.
What's going on?
Oh, got the volume here.
Yeah, I'm going to have to reconnect. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
I almost left.
But TAC-P was what I was looking at the time.
Okay.
I'm like, that's a pretty cool job.
Yeah.
Just, you're the magic man with the radio.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I had a platoon sergeant a long time ago, and he took us to 19 Delta to the Fort Observer. Oh, maybe. Maybe not. There we go. Is it you or me? You there?
No, I'll just leave it up here and I can cut it later.
Did it work? Hello? I can see you. I can't.
Who knows what episode it's going to be. Around the 15-minute mark. I'll just make a note of that. And I'm back.
Can you hear me? There we go.
But yeah, like I was saying, I'd actually gotten my date to go take like the physical test for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was walking out of the office after getting my date to go off, and I get a phone call from where I work now. So obviously I ended up down here and finishing my time out with the 374th.
Nice. Well, again, we loved having you.
Yeah, I'd say I enjoyed it up until pretty much the crap on the deployment.
Yeah.
Other than that, I enjoyed the people I was there with.
Right.
And it was a pretty good time. So.
Huh.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well.
Yep.
I guess we're ready to wrap this one up here.
Sounds good.
Alrighty. Well, we're gonna wrap it up then. Again, this is my prior first sergeant, Huen. Did I get it right that time?
Yeah.
I didn't say.
Hey, you. Hey, you.
Hey, Huen. Okay. Anyway. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed it. Maybe if y'all like it and want to call him back on, I'm sure he may want to come back on again. We'll see what people say.
Hey, this is the first one I've done. There was a sergeant, I forget what his podcast is called. Billy King is his name. William King.
Okay.
He's supply, but he has a podcast, and he had asked me a long time ago. And I said, well, I don't know. I was still in, so I was kind of like, no, not right now. Maybe after I retire. So yeah. This is definitely my first, and it's good catching up with you.
Oh, you too. I definitely say you did a pretty good job. Better than the first episode I did of this, that's for sure. And the one that I did by myself, that was a different thing altogether.
Yeah, but you're enjoying what you're doing, right?
Yeah, I do enjoy this a lot, actually. And most people that know me are very surprised by it because I'm always super quiet, don't talk a lot.
Right.
So, but yeah, we'll wrap this up here. And everybody, thanks for watching. We appreciate you being here. Do your normal like, subscribe, share it to everybody. Share it to all your military people, actually, for this one.
And feel free to give out my number to any one of our guys that are out or whoever.
I'll definitely send you Orner stuff then too.
Yeah, absolutely. Orner was a good dude. Is a good dude, I should say.
Yes, he is.
I mean, I miss him, but
Yeah, he's having fun up there with the sappers.
Oh yeah, blowing stuff up.
Alrighty, everybody. We'll see y'all next time here.
Take care, man.
Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good.